Welcome to Verify Infield, the Millwork Podcast. Your host, Jacob Edmond, CEO of Ductworks, will be interviewing experts in the industry to bring you insights and knowledge about the latest trends, techniques, and challenges in millwork. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, this podcast is for you. So sit back, relax, and join us as we explore the world of millwork. Here's Jacob.
Hi, Adria. Thank you for joining us today. We've got Adria Salvatore, and she is the Association Director for AWFS. So you'll have to tell me exactly so I don't butcher the acronym, but I know that you guys are hosting the AWFS convention in Vegas. We will actually have a booth there. Ductworks will be out there, and that'll be my first time attending. So thank you for joining us. And today we want to talk about education and the industry and the woodworking industry in general and how AWFS and your convention is feeding that. So thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jacob. I'm excited to be here and super excited that you're going to be experiencing the fair for the first time and exhibiting there. We appreciate your support. And the acronym is really wordy. It's the Association of Woodworking and Furnishing Suppliers. And it goes back to our history and all the things that we used to encompass and still do within our industry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to butcher that. I think to get started, could you share a bit about your background, your role as association director, and how you went through your career to get to where you're at now?
Oh, yeah. So let's see. It goes back to banking. I started out in the banking industry after I got my undergrad in finance. And I really thought that was the place for me because I love spreadsheets. I like numbers. I like things that have a solution and that sort of thing. Details. I'm very detail oriented. And so I spent a few years doing commercial lending and realized that it was soul sucking for me. And so meanwhile, I was getting my master's in marketing almost on a whim, which is a whole other podcast. But I realized that I wanted to do something working with a smaller company, ideally nonprofit, working more directly with people, that sort of thing. And so right about that time, I saw a listing in I think it was the Honor Society that I belonged to at the college and applied for it for this random woodworking thing. And I had never, ever done any woodworking in my life, didn't know anything about it. But the rest of the position, which was for education manager, sounded fun and intriguing. So I drove up to East LA, which from Long Beach is a drive. And I interviewed with the director at the time, and we hit it up immediately. Her name is Nancy Pfister. She's one of my favorite people in the whole world. And yeah, it began a long, productive friendship and working relationship. And so, yeah, that was in 2007. So I've been here 16 years now. And at the time, I started just to run the Freshwood Student Woodworking Competition, which is one of the things we're most proud about at AWFS. It brings together students from all across North America. They get to showcase their woodworking projects at the AWFS fair. They get to interact with people from our industry, and the industry gets to see work that students have done and get to see these amazing students and make connections. So we're really passionate about the Freshwood competition, and it was a really cool project for me to start out with because it's just the energy is beautiful. I did that for a while, and then the position grew, and then Nancy retired in 2017, and I was asked to take her place. And so now, as of today, I currently oversee Freshwood and the College of Woodworking Knowledge, which is our educational seminar program. And then for the association side, I handle all of our education outreach, as well as public policy, some aspects of membership, and some aspects of marketing for the association.
Awesome. So you talked about a couple things there that AWFS does outside of the Vegas show, because a lot of people may be familiar with AWFS just in the realm of, hey, you do the show every 2 years, which is big. I don't want to diminish that because there's basically two big shows that everybody in this industry knows about. One in Atlanta, and on the opposite years is AWFS in Vegas. But obviously, AWFS, you guys do a lot more than just a show every 2 years. I mean, you mentioned Freshwood as one of those things. Can you tell us a little bit about the organization and what really AWFS exists for and what you guys do outside of the show every 2 years?
Thanks for bringing that up because you're right. Many people don't know that. They know us as the fair and that's it. And you're absolutely right. The fair is our big interaction with the rest of the world. That's when we get out of our offices and have fun. But the rest of the year, we're not just like sitting and waiting to plan the next show, although that's a lot of it. There's a lot of planning, of course, that goes into it. But we own and operate the association as well, which is somewhat unique. Not to get like deep into association stuff, but there's a few different models for how trade associations are run. Sometimes they're run by management companies. Sometimes they're run by volunteers. So we own and operate our trade show, and we own and operate our trade association. And it's, of course, run by a board of directors that's elected from the membership, but we're staff run. There are currently 6 of us on staff. And so with the association, of course, our purpose is to serve our members. We're a not-for-profit C6. We have members all across the US and Canada and internationally. And most of our members are also exhibitors at the AWFS fair. So that's the big overlap. But then at the fair, we also get to serve the manufacturers who are our member companies' customers. So those who are actually building with wood.
Okay. So your members are more so the vendor suppliers that would have a booth, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas like an AWI or one of those others, those are the manufacturers are the members. AWFS, you guys have a lot of the suppliers and vendors as members. Does that sound right?
Exactly. We have a couple different segments of membership, but really it's machinery. Everyone you can think of that's doing CNC machinery and table saws and just anything you would use in your shop. And then on the supply side, hardware, materials, finishing supplies, and of course, software's in there, all of those good categories. And you're right, we're very similar to IWF in our exhibitor demographics. It's a lot of the same companies, and types of companies exhibit at both shows. A lot we share, and that trade show is run by 2 other organizations, but it's a very different structure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we share a lot of the same folks. So it's all one happy industry.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So talking about education in this industry, obviously that's a lot of what you guys do. You're involved with Freshwood, with students, and then all the way up through the show in Vegas has a lot of seminars. And you mentioned, I think you said it was CWWK. Is that what you called it? Your seminar series. So why is education so important in the woodworking industry, and how does it contribute to the growth and development of the industry?
Yeah, that's a deep question, but I think it's really integral to our purpose. And on one hand, it's very common for associations to take on that role of providing education. In some industries, they have CEUs or certificate programs that people can earn for professional development and that sort of thing. We're not quite there yet. Maybe that's something we grow into someday, but being able to provide our members and our members' customers with education to advance their businesses, it just helps everybody grow. We want our industry to survive and thrive and get bigger and better. And we strongly believe that one of the best ways to do that is by informing everyone and everyone getting more educated and being able to enhance their own businesses. Everyone's just going to get better. So that's the internal education side. And that's our thinking with College of Woodworking Knowledge, which is the classroom seminars at the AWFS Fair. We also do some stage programming at the show. So there's a lot of education just tacked into a lot of things that we do. And then on the association side, we're more focused on outreach. We do offer some educational webinars for our members and different things like that. But really, we're more about awareness of our industry and trying to promote careers in wood and get students and young folks and people outside of our industry to consider this career path.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think so, like I've done a couple other episodes recently, actually one that just published this week about the skills gap. And so I think talking about education, why it's important that associations like AWFS focus on it, one, are because nobody else really is. And I don't want to say nobody else. There's schools like Pitt State and there's certain universities, but it is the trades in general, but definitely woodworking. It's not like something that there is widely available programs in high school or college to go and learn. And historically, we had more unions, and you could go join a cooperative like that or a union to learn as a journeyman, right, to be in this industry. And so there is a big need for filling this skills gap in our industry. And like you said, bringing awareness that, hey, there's careers here, there's opportunity here to bring that talent in. You mentioned that you've got CWWK, you also got the stage and things you're doing at the show. What are the demographics, if you have, of who's coming to your seminars, who's taking these classes? You mentioned that your members are the suppliers, the vendors, right? And then you've got their end users, the manufacturers. Is it those companies, those manufacturers that are sending their people? Is that mostly what it is?
Yeah, at the show, our members are typically focused on their booths. Like you'll experience, Jacob, your Lord willing, if all goes as it seems to be, your booth will be swamped. You'll be busy talking with people. And so you won't be able to leave other than to grab a bite of food for lunch. So we don't gear anything towards them really at the show. We want them to stay busy and happy. But yeah, the attendees that are there, we hope that they plan their trip to the show with a mix of walking the show floor, getting to talk with the exhibitors and see all the new products and everything, and also attending some educational seminars in the classrooms. So of the people from the manufacturing companies that are coming to the show, the ones who are engaging in the sessions tend to be, it can really actually vary depending on the topic. So within our educational program, we have 54 sessions this year, and they're broken up into several different tracks. And so it depends on, if it's a business and leadership track session, then that will likely be the owner or people C-level or in management and that sort of thing. If it's a marketing session, then certainly that would be the marketing staff or team, or likewise with sales or accounting. And then we have more technical ones that are focused on edge banding or finishing techniques or joinery techniques, that sort of thing. So that could be shop directors, that sort of thing, like people that are overseeing shop operations or in the production environment.
And you said 54 this year. Is that just at the show in Vegas or throughout the year?
That's just at the show. So that those 54 sessions will take place Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday during the show. Yeah. Busy.
Not to derail, but to talk a little bit about anybody who might be listening and thinking like, okay, but who stands to benefit from this? Why does this trade organization exist? And you're being funded by your member, but like from my perspective, and this is a little bit like what I think people might be thinking, even from like a jaded mindset, essentially, if the industry benefits and gains, right? Your supplier members have businesses, right? And they sell to these manufacturers, and those manufacturers, right, as long as they're doing well and succeeding and the industry is succeeding, they're ultimately going to be buying from your supplier members, right? And so it is this cyclical, it's like reinvesting in the industry, one, for the betterment, hopefully, of everybody involved, right, to continue to grow the industry. And it's not a directly transactional, hey, I spend this money here and we get it there. But by and large, and I assume you've got many years now of seeing this happen, of, hey, we're reinvesting and providing this education for these people who attend. And if they take that, they enact it in their business, they're investing in their people, they're going to continue to do better, and the circle continues. Is that like in a nutshell, accurate description?
I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, that's truly it. There's nothing clandestine about what we're trying to do.
Right.
It's pretty direct. We want our members to thrive, and we want their customers to thrive so that they can thrive. We all support one another.
Yeah. So I know that some people listen to these things and they think, okay, what is a sales pitch? What am I getting? Right. And it really, like you said, there's nothing clandestine. It is truly to reinvest in the industry that we all stand, a rising tide raises all ships. Right.
Exactly.
And, one, if you have an opportunity to come to this, I imagine what you're going to get is truly educational content, not so much a sales pitch, right? That's what you guys are providing. And knowing that, hey, you're funded ultimately by not that, but you've got these members who have a stake in the betterment of the industry as a whole. And I think that's important to understand when we talk about education, right? Because there are so many things now that are directly transactional. Hey, you pay for this class, you get that, and that's it. And so what I'm saying, like 54 sessions, that's a ton of content in a couple of days there, in the way it's tracked. So you mentioned business and leadership, you mentioned marketing. What other tracks do you guys have?
So actually, let me answer that. But you mentioned a really important point that they're not sales pitches, they're education focused. And we take that really seriously. And we know that the attendees are very sensitive to that. We have evaluations after each session, and people will write in. I love our industry because they don't mince words. They're very honest. And so people will say, this was a sales pitch, and we don't invite that person back again. Right. But each speaker has to sign an agreement saying that they're not going to use this as a sales platform. The purpose, we understand that some of our speakers are coming from an exhibiting company, but we're very transparent about that. And we're very selective about the speakers coming to know that they know how to paint a bigger picture of, here's a issue or problem that might be happening in your shop. Here's a solution. Our product might be one of the options, but here's a more holistic approach of how you would approach that problem and solve it and improve your revenue or decrease costs or whatever the issue is.
Right.
So yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So the tracks, we have our business management and leadership, and then we have culture and workforce development, cabinet and millwork, furniture, software and technology, techniques and applications, and then the teacher track, which is a set of sessions that are specifically for woodworking teachers.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you've seen, it said you joined in 2007, you said, so you've been there like 16 years. Obviously, you've seen a lot of evolution in the industry with your time there. How, from your perspective, has technology impacted education in woodworking? And is there anything new, tools or techniques, technology-wise, that have emerged that have truly transformed the way we educate in this industry?
Yes, that's a really good question. And this is my disclaimer where I say I'm not a woodworker. Shamefully, after 16 years of hanging out with all you lovely people, I haven't yet built anything. But what I've learned from talking with many smart people is, and observed, and everything is, certainly technology is evolving, as all of us know. And when I started in 2007, CNC, while it had been around a while, it seemed to be a novel concept. Shops were still very intimidated by it. They didn't know how to implement it or how to take it to the next step. It was this machine that, wasn't being used to its full, being maximized, I guess you could say.
Right.
And now I think there is a much more broad adoption of CNC. It's much more common, which is wonderful. And I do see through education, I'm able to work with other associations and industries. And it's cool to compare notes about where our technology evolution is compared to other groups. And so it's helpful, and to see possibly where we'll be going in the future. More recently, certainly robotics. And we went through that phase where Industry 4.0 was all everybody was talking about. And then that kind of went into connectivity and predictive maintenance and things like that. And it seems like we're making progress on what is this new thing that's coming about, and what does it actually mean for the companies in our industry, and how can they implement it, and how's it going to better them?
Right.
And that's something with the sessions, we really try to keep it applicable. And it's not, if you're looking for theory or an academic discourse on some certain technology, you won't find it here. It's going to be more like, okay, here's the technology, here's a brief primer on it if that's necessary, but here's what it will do for your shop and why you need it and how to get started with it.
Okay, awesome. And then you mentioned there is a track for teachers, for educators in the industry. Mm-hmm. And so who is that for? Is that like teachers of shop class? Is that teachers in university level, or a mixture?
Yeah. We love having students and teachers at the show. We're very excited about that. We recently reduced our age limit. It used to be 16 years and up in order to come in the show, and we changed it to 14 because going back to the skills gap conversation, the younger we can introduce students to the show, the better. And likewise, by introducing teachers to our industry and bringing them to the show and giving them opportunities for professional development, they're going to spread that information to their students, and they're going to enhance their programs. So that's really important to us. And that's an aspect of Freshwood, but it goes a lot beyond that as well. So I would say of the teachers that attend our show, it's probably 70% high school and 30% post-secondary college programs. And then we have folks that are teaching community programs or just non-traditional, more alternatives and that sort of thing. So that's wonderful too. The neat thing about woodworking is there seems to be a lot of different educational avenues. But like you said, it's very different than it was in the past. So that's a whole nother conversation strain. But yeah, the teacher track sessions this year, we're talking about how to market your program, how essentially as a teacher, how can you get the word out more? And so the industry partners know about you, the community knows about you, your administrators have a good perception of your program and that sort of thing. We're doing an intensive CNC training for teachers because just like the evolution that companies had to go through, teachers are also, they don't know how to get going with CNC. They don't know how to train their students. So we want to get that process going more advanced. We're talking about shop safety, and then the skill standards, of course, Woodwork Career Alliance skill standards, and how to incorporate that into your program. So there's several different sessions on different things. And along with that, we offer complimentary attendance for teachers and a dramatic discount on the seminars for them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what other areas, what other avenues are there for education available today? Like outside of even AWFS, you mentioned like Woodwork Career Alliance. Obviously, we've got different high schools now that are developing programs and stuff. But are there any other kind of partner programs that you guys work with or collaborate with? Like, what does that look like in the industry today for people interested in this industry and education available for it?
I think since I've been here in 2000, started in 2007, I've seen a lot of really neat things develop. And the Skills USA, I would say, has been a constant for me. We got involved in Skills USA around 2010, and we started by running the cabinet making contest for the state of, it was started out as regional, and now we organize it for the state and also for the smaller regional contests. So just to backtrack a minute, Skills USA is a national career technical student organization. It's students can create and join a club on their campus, similar to a lot of people are familiar with FFA or DECA or student clubs like that, but it's all focused on skilled trades. So Skills USA encompasses all kinds of different skilled trades, not just woodworking. You can participate and be involved if you're in automotive or construction or cosmetology or culinary arts or you name it, whatever your campus offers. But the students in the Skills USA Club in their chapter at their school will compete in live build contests. And so obviously for cabinet making, there's a cabinet making contest. And again, we design it for California and we run it, and it's a lot of fun. But we try to make it very close to an industry experience. So the students get project plans that are developed on CAD. They have to create a bill of materials and a cut list and optimization sheet and all this stuff. And they're using table saws and a lot of the same equipment you would see in your shop. And then the students who have the highest score advance to nationals and they represent their state. And that team is run by people at AWI. And it's very well organized. It's a phenomenal contest. And so it's similar to what we're doing at the state level, but obviously more advanced, a little bit more time, and they're doing like really intricate work. So the reason we are committed to Skills USA is because we're part of a bigger message or community kind of thing. So we're not trying to do it on our own. And in addition to the skill contests, which are like the fun part of Skills USA, they're also very focused on leadership skills. So their goal is to help the student be prepared for the workforce in all aspects. So not just their technical skills, but preparing a resume, interview skills, how to dress appropriately, all those things that every employer everywhere expects and wants out of their employees. So we believe in the mission of Skills USA, and we think it's a great way. We get to interact directly with students and teachers. We get to learn more about the school programs and what their needs are and what their strengths are. So we built a lot of wonderful relationships that way. And we help. I know that schools are impacted by the contests that we run. It helps them adjust their programs to some extent, not specifically for the contest, but they see, oh, okay, this is what a team of industry experts wants and what they're looking for. And so they can incorporate some of those aspects into what they're teaching.
So talking about the show itself a little bit more. So for people who may be listening who either haven't been to AWFS I guess first, the show went on 2 years ago, or is this the first? Yeah, we had it in 2021.
Yeah.
Okay, so because like IWF had a skip, so you guys have had it consistently. What can people expect? What is this show? For somebody who's never been, isn't familiar, but now is maybe curious. It's an industry. It's a very large show, right? It's in Vegas, July. What are the dates? 25th through 27th.
28th. Yep.
25th through 28th. Okay, so July. It's in July of this year, 2023. But tell us a little bit more about the show specifically. So, what it is, what people can expect, and what they might gain if they go.
We're going to have about 300,000 square feet of exhibit space. And within that will be around 600 exhibitors, potentially more. But our floor plan is already looking pretty full. So if there's any people who are considering exhibiting at this point, reach out to us right away. But yeah, you'll see a good mix of machinery, supplies, materials, hardware, software, so many different things that you would be interested and need if you're running a professional woodworking shop of any type. And so most of our attendees are in cabinet making, architectural millwork, furniture, or just producing some product or items with wood. So if you're in that boat, in fact, I spoke with a team last week who's in fire and flood restoration. and they're looking to expand the cabinet side of their business. And so they're going to be coming to the show. So yeah, it's quite a broad swath of people who come to the show. But yeah, I think most people plan 2 to 3 days to walk the show floor. If you're planning to spend time at each booth and learn about the new products, if you're just going to speed walk through the aisles, you probably could get it done in a day, but that's going to be a lot. But yeah, if you want to take time to do a couple educational sessions and walk the show floor and catch up with friends, then yeah, plan at least 2 days, if not 3. It does run Tuesday through Friday. Hotel rooms are already selling out, so certainly get on that if you want. And our rates, because we're in July, are really good in Las Vegas. But one of my favorite aspects of the show, and I learned pretty quickly, is the community that it builds. And I see this at IWF as well, because I'm sure this is true in every industry, but with our folks, y'all are so busy and your businesses are all encompassing. So you're focused on what's in front of you every day of the year. And so going to the show, it's like a reunion. It seems every time you run into old friends, you make new friends, and just seeing people like so excited to see one another and catch up. And I always get to hear about people's kids and grandkids and how they've grown. And it's really lovely. Everyone's so friendly, and it's just a great environment. So I think that's probably my favorite. I should say education's my favorite part of the show, and that's important, but just seeing people interact with one another is really cool.
Yeah, the networking is always great. And I think I don't know that we could do justice to just how expansive and large it is. Like you said, it could dedicate a few days to walking the floor, but there is so much to see, so many people to see and meet. Obviously, there's tons of people. If you've been in this industry for any time, there's going to be a ton of people who maybe have just heard of or seen online that you get to meet in person, both at the booths for their company as well as just their visiting. The last show here in Atlanta that I went to I didn't have a booth. I just walked for 4 days straight, and I got more steps in than I really ever should have in that period of time. But everything from software to hardware to innovative new materials and products to machinery. And so you get an opportunity. It's a lot of time and opportunity for people to come and see things in person. So a lot of the machinery, you guys will have things there that you maybe are new, or even just something you haven't seen in practice. And then, yeah, just the networking in between, going from booths to classes to having lunch with people, I think is huge. I think the first Atlanta show I went to was 2014. And I still run into people that I'm like, oh, I remember we met you this year. And I remember we met at this show. And then you take those through the next 2 years of contacts made that you otherwise wouldn't have had. So it could be a vendor relationship. It could be a like client or a like company that, hey, if you're an owner of a company, another guy that is on the other side of the country that you guys wouldn't interact with otherwise, but you guys deal with the same problems day in, day out, and can be a great networking opportunity to be able to communicate with each other.
Absolutely. Yep. It's so cool to see and be a part of.
Yeah. Awesome. Outside of that, is there anything we didn't touch on yet about the show that you'd like to share with everybody? Or AWFS?
Yeah, related to the show, the stage programming that I teased earlier will include rapid fire presentations. So you mentioned innovative products, and that rang a bell in my head. We do have the Visionary New Product Showcase and Awards program. And so that's to highlight the new products that the exhibitors are bringing to the show this year. So that's always exciting. And similar to that, the rapid fire presentations are exhibitors talking about their newest, latest, and greatest. So those are really quick presentations. They're 10 to 15 minutes long, and they're going to be taking place in the morning, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on the show floor stage, which is once you enter the hall, you're going to head towards the southwest to get to the stage. You can't miss it. But those are free. You don't have to register for them. You just walk up and go. We're also bringing back WED Talks, which are like our version of that famous talk that rhymes with wed. And I'm really excited to have Brian Boggs, the chairmaker. He's going to be doing a wonderful session about his career and just the whole path, chair making and all that stuff. And we have a few other great ones lined up. We're having Dr. Chris Keel, the economist, who's going to give us an economic update on Thursday. And immediately following that, we'll have a panel of industry experts, talking about the status of the supply chain in the industry. So it'll be someone from machinery, someone from materials and supplies, all giving their perspective on where things are at and where they see things going in the next year. And hopefully that'll tie into Dr. Keel's more macroeconomic conversation right before. So lots of good stuff. So just be on the lookout. The CWWK program just launched this week. And so you can now add sessions to your registration. And then the stage programming will be scheduled in the next couple weeks. So you can see what's going on there. I would say follow our socials, AWFS Fair, and you'll be seeing updates regularly at this point. On the association side, I would like to mention WORK, which is the Wood Industry Resource Collaborative. And this is an industry-wide national campaign to promote careers in woodworking. And this is a joint collaborative effort between us, AWFS, and several other associations, including WMMA, AWI, NWFA, which is the wood flooring folks, WMIA, and several others. We've been talking and formulating and planning for several years now. And then a couple of years ago, we launched this campaign called youwood.com, like YOUWOD. But it's a play on would you join our industry? Yeah. So the campaign is geared towards students and job seekers, including military veterans. And the website is youwood.com. And we want students to go to this website and job seekers and to just learn more about our industry. So there's links to resources like job boards and different educational programs and that sort of thing. There's blog posting about young professionals in the industry. There's some videos that are available on there. There's an event listing. So just it's really intended for folks outside of our industry to just give them a glimpse. And we did this because you mentioned earlier, Jacob, but a lot of other industries in the skilled trades especially are doing the same thing. Right. And if we want to stay competitive and if we want to attract talent and grow our industry and see it expand in the next generation, we need to have a bigger voice and be more out there and bring more people in. What you see right now on the campaign and the website is where we're at right now, but it's continuing to evolve and grow. We're working on some exciting new projects within that campaign. And so right now it's focused on awareness, but how do we take it to the next level? Like how do we, once we attract people into the industry, what do we do? Where do we send them? That sort of thing. So lots of good conversations that are happening. And so I guess I want people to know if you're a member of an industry or organization, you're supporting that effort as well. We're funding this campaign and it's coming from member companies, and it's because everyone is clamoring and asking, they're expressing this need and this concern about our workforce. And so we came together to take action and try and do something about it. So we're really hoping that this will help shift the perception of what woodworking is and shift our awareness.
Awesome. That's amazing. Yeah. So if people want to get more involved or find out what, how to, they can go to youwood.com. Also, I think the website, awfs.org, that's your main website. And on there, if people don't know, you can actually go there, see a floor plan of the show, see what vendor and booths are going to be there. You mentioned earlier Skills USA and a lot of organizations. I think that this is something that I know everybody I talk to in this industry is dealing with. How are we going to continue to fill the skills gap? How do we educate the people that we have, and how do we bring people in? So this is near and dear to many people's hearts. So if people want to get involved, want to help, want to contribute, how can they find out more? How can they do that best?
And that's a good question. And that's what ultimately we would love to morph youwood.com into come to us and we can get you to where you want to go. But at this point, I'm happy to share my email address. It's already everywhere, so it's not a secret. It's Adria, ADRIA, at AWF as in Frank, S as in Sam.org. And so please, we're all friends, we're all family, we're all one big industry here, and you are welcome to reach out to me if you hear this and you're like, hey, I want to get involved in this. And then it's very possible that I can connect you with someone who's doing that or just help you get on that direction. Another thing I do want to mention is Manufacturing Day. Like Skills USA, Manufacturing Day is a national initiative that's way bigger than us. And so that's why we like being a part of it, because it already has that clout and that recognition. But that was launched by NAM, the National Association of Manufacturers, several years ago. And the purpose of Manufacturing Day is just to encourage companies to open their doors and offer plant tours and events to bring students in and see what manufacturing today looks like. I know a lot of companies in our industry have been involved in Manufacturing Day and doing fantastic events for several years now. And I just want to encourage more folks to consider it and keep doing those events. They really are impactful. We were involved in a couple different events here in Southern California last year, and we saw over 400 students from different high schools in the area. And you can see the impact like directly on what makes. And because we have the relationship with the high school, with the teachers, we ask them, okay, what did your students say when they got back? What did they think? And teachers genuinely tell us, they go, I didn't really care about woodworking, or I thought it was just a hobby before this, or I was just in this class because it fit in my schedule. And that was actually really cool. And so it's a long-term, you have to remember with everything education, it's a long-term commitment. The ROI isn't going to be this month or even this year necessarily, but we all need to do our part and to contribute to promoting essentially our industry. We all can be marketers for the woodworking industry and get more folks to come and consider and want to join us. And so Manufacturing Day is a really fun, somewhat light, easy way. I know hosting an event at your facility can be very distracting and pausing production and that sort of thing. But one day a year, if you can open your doors and bring students in. So if you're curious about the logistics and how that works, then please email me. I'd love to talk about that.
Awesome. That's awesome. It's a whole lot of resources that we will be sure to share with everybody that I think that is very actionable. Thank you so much for all that you're doing in our industry and for education and for coming on and sharing with us on the podcast. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks for having me, Jacob. It was fun.
Is there anything else before we go that you want to share? I know we've got your email, we've got AWFS, a plethora of other things. Anything else you've got?
If you open the door, I'll keep talking. No, I think we're probably good for today. Yeah, that was a lot of information, I know. So just to clarify, we do have two websites. I know it's a little weird. We have awfs.org if you want to learn everything about our association and what we do through the association and our member companies. And then we have awfsfair.org, which has the floor plan, like you mentioned, and the CWWK seminars and all the good things that are going to be happening in July. Okay. So they are linked to one another somehow, but you just go to direct. You can go straight to them.
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm sure would love to have you on again and keep the conversation going.
That'd be wonderful. Thanks, Jacob.
Thanks, Adria.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Do you want to stay up to date about industry insights, new content, and our community of millworkers? Go to ductworksmw.com to sign up for our newsletter. I'll see you in the next episode of Verify in Field.